You can't stop me now. Can't stop me now. My feet have come too far for you to tie 'em to the ground. Can't stop me now. Can't stop me now. Set my sights on where I'm going at. They turn it back around. Can't stop me.
Well, good evening and welcome to the Psychic Call Shop. I'm Ace Knight, and of course, with me tonight is Kristen Lee, owner, caretaker, and manager of the Bel Air House. How are you, darling?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. It's been a bit since we've gotten to talk. Let me think. When was I up last? I was up right before COVID hit. You were actually probably the last location I'd done at the Bel Air House when we'd done your psychic fair.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. And you've been busy. You know, everyone wonders what psychics do when they're not on the road. Well, she's been busy writing a new book about the home. It's a lovely book. Quick read, guys. I done this in 2 days, so you guys should be able to do it in a weekend. So how you been? What's up? How's the house?
Oh, the house. Well, I haven't been to the house in a couple of days,
Uh-huh.
and I have to go back in tomorrow to clean up and get ready for the weekend.
Uh-huh.
I think it's good. I hope it's good. I'll see. You walk in the house and you make it through the seance room, and it's a good day. And you
Yeah.
walk through the house and get like right in the middle of the seance table. You're like, okay, we'll give you one more day to settle down.
Mhm.
But I'll be
Like
back.
calm yourself. See, with
Mhm.
the house, the seance room is always one room. That's not where I have issues at when I walk into that house. It's always the foyer. Like I don't know what the deal is with the foyer, but as soon as I walk in, it's like, hello, nice to see everybody. Now get out of my way. I've got work to do.
Oh, I see. Yeah. You did your readings in the foyer,
I
right?
do the readings in the foyer, and there's always a presence there. And I'm like, can you just like leave me alone? Look, we got to get through this day together. I'm not spending the night. You'll have your time later.
Yes, we do see shadow figures come down the steps, and then we see shadow figures come up the steps from the basement.
Hmm.
And you look down the hallway in the seance room, who's ever in that chair, um, if you were aware of them,
Hmm.
I think that you can see them, but there's some people that didn't even know that they were there and they saw them. So I felt like that made a lot of validation to what
Oh,
other people were reporting. Yeah.
yeah. Now, correct me if I'm not if I'm wrong, but you can actually go and do a private investigation at Bel Air. You've got it
Oh,
open to the public.
yeah.
So after you read the book, you can go test the book out.
Just don't test chat or chapter conquer and divide. Don't test
Yeah, don't test that one. Don't try to open up the voids.
that.
So tell everyone who's not been there, how'd you come about getting the house?
Well, unfortunately, our home was washed away by floodwaters. 2 floods came in and just tore it down.
Hmm.
And I found the house on a foreclosed list. And not too long after that, we moved in. And we thought it was just going to be a regular house, and it wasn't at
Hmm.
all. And, months of fighting myself and not believing in the paranormal because, I always saw the paranormal as kind and friendly ghosts, like Casper, right? Casper, the
Hmm.
friendly ghost. And I think that it was my turn to learn that without the positive, there's no negative, and without the negative, there's no positive. So there has to be a balance.
Right.
And I really learned that part from the Bel Air house. And then, I learned how to balance other things later. And
Right. And, how to deal with other things later. Um,
right.
because at that time you had to have still been you were working in the psychic industry because we've known each other for a good 10 years,
Hmm.
at least. I mean,
Yes.
because, I met you through CD on network and then we met in person up at Moundsville during one of their
Yes.
Paracons.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
That was great times.
Yes, I'm going to address a comment real fast. Steve, I need your birth date. I can't. Neither one of us can answer questions because it's being filmed in West Virginia. We have to have your birth date, including the year. That's the important part. Yeah, but we'll take. But I'll be happy to look at that for you. So you move in. What are some of the things you've experienced, both good, bad, and evil? And what are some of the things that other people have experienced? And you're like, okay, let's run the psychology questions first.
Right. Yes, I get it. I get it. So that's a loaded question. That's a lot to unpack. So for us, me, um, in the beginning, it was the gray apparition that sat down on the couch, and I actually felt the cushion of some sort of weight
Hmm.
go down, and it pushed the couch in, the cushion. And it's right on that in between, right? Right
Sure.
before you wake up, you understand something might be there, you know,
Yeah,
and you
you're not exactly sure who's there. Is it the
right.
dog, the cat, or Aunt Mary walking in to have a conversation?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, that part of it has happened a lot. That's just part of being psychic. So, but the thing is, when I actually physically opened my eyes, I wasn't opening my eyes until I was sitting up. That's when I opened my eyes and I saw this figure right in my face, and I'm like, "Holy cow, who are you? What do you want?" I was so startled. I was so frightened because it was so startling. I was in fear.
Hmm.
So when I get in that fear mode, I just come out screaming
Right.
and saying some profanity. It was,
Mhm.
but then he got up and it was a man. You could clearly see him, and you could see through him. It was like translucent, but you could see him. And then he walked in through the living room and into the foyer, and he just vanished. And
Mhm.
that was it.
Wow.
And that was pretty profound for me. Um, reports. Um, gosh, there's so many of them from paranormal investigators. I mean, we've been opened up. We opened up, just paranormal investigations, 15, 16, 17. By 18, I transitioned to an afterlife research center
Mhm.
because I really wanted to, dive in and study. One of the reports that we don't rarely get,
Mhm.
I'll tell you this one, is other investigators connecting to what to be referred to as the star people.
Mhm.
So that part of it, there's like maybe 3 investigators when we get together, that type of energy comes through. And the difference between it is that when you're speaking to an earthbound spirit, and with us in the Bel Air house, at least, you've got a 2 to 3, maybe 5-minute window to communicate before they start to lose energy. Then you're susceptible to losing energy. And you don't want to lose energy like that in the Bel Air house, right? So these this energy that was coming through was so the intellect was global, like universal, like solar
Right.
system, like so they spoke to us for like 2 hours. It was hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
2
through
hours.
different pieces of equipment, you know,
Have you
we
used the ghost box there? I'm sure other ones has, but have you personally used it there?
oh yeah, we use you start off with the Hack Shacks, then the Ghost Box, SB7, SB11,
Mhm.
then Stephen Huff's Portal. I love the channels and how clean the portal is. It's like amplifiers, guitar amplifiers put together on a speaker, and you can actually make spiritual communication, and there's no more of a white noise.
Oh, cool. Very cool. All right.
Mhm.
I'm going to answer Steven's question real fast because
Sure.
he's really panicking. Steven asked, his mother passed away last month. He wants to know if it was a wrongful passing or not. And his birth date is 8/4/85. She isn't blocking you. She hasn't figured out how to communicate yet. So she's playing with everything, trying to get your attention, let you know that she's still there.
Mhm.
I do not feel like he done anything. It was not a wrongful passing. I do feel like it was a passing that went quickly and she's still figuring things out. Okay, Steven? All right, so that took care of that. Let's get back to Bel Air House. I like this house. I get to travel to. I've been to like 3 houses, and the Anchorage that I'm going to this Saturday. It's like coming home. I mean, I get greeted at the door by the housekeeper, and I'm like, "Hi, how are you?" And
That's
I've
so
had
cool.
conversations when I first went there. I literally had full conversations with this being, and then my other partner walks up and goes, "Who are you talking to?" And I'm like, "The housekeeper that's telling me I'm over here and yada yada yada." And then I go to your place, and your place, they're not solid like that for me there. Like it's not familiar like home.
Right.
But at the same time, there's energy there, and it's like, no, guys, we ain't having this today. I know you guys want to talk. I am not the one to go talk to. Go talk to Kristen. She's in the kitchen. You don't like the new wallpaper? Go talk to Kristen. She's
The Anchorage, that I would love to go. I really, so you get to go there this weekend?
I'm going up this weekend to doing readings. I
So,
love that house. It's amazing. It has one of the Victorian sandstones.
mhm.
And I know you were talking about the basement, and I've not. The only rooms I've been into is the kitchen, the foyer, the bathroom, and I went upstairs in the Bel Air house. I've never gone to the basement, although I have suspicions to believe that there's a portal or a vortex down there.
Yes, there is.
And that could be a little unnerving to maybe impasse.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some sketcy stuff that's gone on down there for sure. And
Yeah.
I haven't, and I won't. When investigators come in, I say, here's the light, you're on your own for the basement, and it's just, it's not worth it to me because, you have to be like a tank of gas at the Belair house. You got to be at least 3/4 full. And
Exactly.
you go in the basement, you're going to be half a tank coming back up the steps, and then you're
If
susceptible to
not
anything.
more, if because it is so energetic and there's so many
Mhm.
over imprints, and it's almost. I'm sorry, I really think sometime in this house's history, it was a hotel because there's too many people in and out of that house. You'll have an entity one night, next night you won't have that entity. You'll have a total different entity.
Mhm. Yeah, it's the ley line. It's
Yeah.
definitely the ley line in the other portals. And, here's an interesting one. So this has documentation to go with it. So there was a guy there named Eric Connor, and he creates these pieces of equipment called the gateway. Well, one
Mhm.
night he had a brilliant idea to put all three of his gateways in a circle and open a portal. I don't know if he realized that he was opening a portal or if it just happened because he called. Well, first of all, let me rewind here. We don't allow anybody to spend time in the Blair House alone, ever, never. So Eric and I came up with a plan, a safe plan. He has a lot of YouTube followers. So as long as he stayed on YouTube the whole entire time, and if something happened, people knew how to get a hold of me if I
Mhm.
fell asleep, and people took shifts sleeping. We did.
Right.
But so anyway, he blew up the American Electric power surge at just on the block, and only in Belmont County. And there's the Blair House, the abandoned house, then the
Uh-huh.
duplex, and then another abandoned house, and then another house. And there was less than 5 houses that he blew up with creating that portal.
Oh my God.
And we have the AEP thing to prove it, like we have to
Right.
look up, say, when's it going to be back on?
Yeah.
So we have the receipt. And it's all over YouTube too. You just like,
Yeah.
and then later on, you see little Eric like in a candlelight, like, is there anybody here with me?
Yeah. It's like, let's take this back. Has anybody ever done the shock key experiment there?
The shock key, what's that about?
That's the one with the red light in front of them. They sensorize the eyes with cotton ball and
Oh, okay, the
they put
Estes.
white noise on.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, they call it the Estes method at the Blair House. And maybe it's the same thing,
it
but
is.
yeah, we do that a lot. We did that when we did the sizzle reel for Paranormal Confessions. That
Uh-huh.
was really cool. I was able to do that part of it.
Uh-huh.
So there's a lot of teams that are really hip on that right now. So
Well, it's an oldie but a goodie because it's
yeah,
got very limited technology. So there's very limited for them to feed off of. So it's not like you can only do it for five. You've got a battery operated thing there, and for 5 minutes they'll drain it, and then able to do extra things and not give you what you want to get captured. Um, so you've got the house running, you've got people coming in to investigate it and to be with it, and you've had some really good different things there. Has anyone gotten to why?
I'm so sorry. The cat jumped and she ruined the last part of what you said. I'm so
Has
sorry.
anyone came up with a reason why? Why that house? Why that property? Other than it being on a ley line, because there's that whole line there of houses that is
Mhm.
right there on that ley line. Have we figured out why yet? Is it the sandstone in the foundation? Is it the Ohio River? Because there's a lot of them along the Ohio River that have either imprints, what I call imprints, which is it's the same thing happening every night, or it's like a freaking hotel going on for crossed over earthbound spirits.
Yeah, well, yeah, that we call it the paranormal playground.
Yeah.
Honest to goodness, it's all of that. It's all of that. Plus, remember, there's residual energy there from the French and Indian War, the Shawnee, the Iroquois, the deaths. I mean, having a ley line, there's like different categories, different things. Like you
Mhm.
have to have water and all that stuff, and deaths, and then the coal mines. I mean, my goodness, the coal mines. And then just all of everything that has come in with the paranormal investigators, amping it up, so to speak, with all the energy just flowing in and out of that house.
Right. Which
And
stirs it up. I'm sorry, it does.
yeah, it did. We try to take like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, let it sit.
Mhm.
And then, well, always in December, we're never open. And then I don't want to open in January. And then I don't really want to open in February.
No, if you can get trapped there for multiple days,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't be open.
No, but we're going to try.
Okay.
A friend of mine that works as a psychic medium, he and I are going to attempt to live in the Blair House for the month of January and see what happens.
Okay.
We're going to have 24/7 Amcrest cameras doing the broadcast on Spirit Realm Network.
Really?
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. And you're going to work from there.
Yeah. Well, I won't be able to do that. I'll have to do that privately. So I'll probably just do text because I don't want to disclose anything.
Right. That's why I'm like, you're going to have to create like take one of the rooms and like that's the office. No filming in there.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And then we can just switch. He can go in for a couple hours. I'll go in for a
couple hours. Get a little bit of a break. Set sage in there.
Right. So we'll see. I don't know how that's going to turn out because I might leave after a couple hours.
Yeah, like have fun with it. Yes, Sandy, I will be at the Anchorage this Saturday doing readings. You will probably want to go ahead and book. I'm going to be sending out the marketing email later tonight with all the details on that. But yes, I will be up there doing readings and filming some because I'm taking my cameras back.
Yeah.
So I go to your place, I take the cameras just to see. I don't know. I don't think I can deal with it for a month. I think by then I would have to have a house meeting with all the spirits and go, all right, you do the dishes, you take care of the car, you take care of this, you take care of that, and you three little star beings / shadow walkers, whatever you are, you're in charge of cleaning that basement.
Yeah. Hey, if I have to be tapped out, can I call you and you can take my place and then we'll just Okay.
Yeah, we'll rotate out. No big deal.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. Now I'm noticing though a pattern with so 3 houses I deal with are in West Virginia. Shawnee is all over them.
Yeah.
Shawnee blood, Shawnee land, Shawnee spirits. Have you had a member of the Shawnee tribe come to the house?
Well, you mean like the actual like living ones, not in spirit?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, living ones, honey. The dead ones, they show up whenever they want.
Yeah, but one night during a data collection, we had said knock on the table, if you're Iroquois, and it knocked, and then it came in Khoi. It just wanted to be referred to as Khoi.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really cool. And it was like a whisper, like, Khoi. You know, it was just the coolest thing in the world. And I mean, it did knock, and it was, wow.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how's the rebuilding process going? They don't talk about. It's great to own a haunted house until you have to do the repair work.
You know, we put
So neglected.
I don't know, during COVID, we put a roof on the front porch because, you know, I just didn't think, I just wanted it to be protected because of the winter. And I wasn't sure if the roof was going to start to be really bad. So we did that, and finally had a contractor come, like after all of these years. You know, I was up front. I said, this is the Belair house. Please Google it before you know, come and give me an estimation. Well, they came, and that's a good start, right? So that means they don't.
That's an improvement.
Right. So, but then, you know, the final story that he said to my face was, I'm sorry, I didn't believe you about your house. And I'm a full believer right now. And he actually started following the Belair house. And, but what had happened is he took his construction crew on the roof, and one guy had reported that something like came up on him while he was on the roof. But then he looked down at his arm, and there was like, this is awful. There was 3 scratches, and they were bleeding. So I went to see them the next day because I wasn't there when that happened. But so Mike is the contractor. He's the owner. He's like, so what's the significance of 3? And I said, well, the first thing I can think of is you're at the Belair house. It would probably be the Trinity. And he said, well, my buddy got scratched on 3 long bleeding, like scratch marks on his arm. I said, was he drinking? He said, yeah. I said, well, Jacob don't like that. And you can't be doing that shit.
That don't work in this house.
So,
especially up on Jacob's roof.
Right. And then he had disclosed to tell me, he told me that he used to go in there and be like, Jacob, blah, 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 like just using a lot of authority to him. And I'm like, you don't want to do that, bro. That's not the way to do that. You know, it's like,
but that's what they see on some of these shows. So how often do you watch a paranormal show? And you've been on Paranormal Confessions. You've been on a few reality shows. But they go in and they start yelling at these ghosts. And I'm just thinking to myself, what are you doing?
Yeah. Hollywood's it's a different vibe, you know. They have a lot of people. Let me put it to you this way, and I'm not trying to be conceited, but it's just think of a rock and roll band, how that old saying is, guitar players are a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
Well, that's what producers and directors are, okay? But the Belair house and what I do and the spirits of the Belair house, we're not a dime a dozen.
No.
So,
no.
Yeah.
But no, what I'm talking about is a lot of the misinformation that gets spread by
Right. Yeah.
like,
right.
Oh, there's a demon that lives in you know, it's demonary. No, it isn't.
Yep. Oh, I could tell you stories privately that would just make your head spin.
Yeah, it's like, no, there isn't. Stop that. Stop yelling and screaming. Nobody. Why would you want to do that? Now I have to go calm them down because you've done upset their world in your world.
Ooh, there's ramifications to that. When people go in like that and they are directed to do things like that, there are ramifications that will just bite those people in the butt later on down the line.
Oh yeah.
You know? And it always happens.
Always.
Yeah.
But then it teaches the untrained when they go in to deal with paranormal, well, this is how you're supposed to behave, and you're supposed to call them out and tell them. And it's like,
right.
You're here to gather information, figure out one of 3 things. One, they're an actual spirit that, if there being a problem, needs to be moved on. Actual spirit not causing a problem, can just live there.
Right.
And rules like you do the dishes, you don't slam my cabinets, and don't lock the door behind me. Or 3, it's not an active spirit; it's a replay, meaning it's just saved in the house's memory.
Right. Yes. Residual. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like a record. You're right. Aha. I'm happy now.
yeah.
Mhm.
So, how has the Belle Isle House affected your psychic abilities?
I think it's made it increase a lot. I really do. Being in that buzzing vibration all the time, like that high frequency bzzz, I feel like a ghost box. I do. But I definitely feel like it increases it. And I wrote a chapter and did a study on how it does increase psychic abilities and other investigators. It did a blood samples and stuff like that. Um, you know, I hope it makes it into the next book because it's really important. And I think that if we can, yeah, for me, in short,
Yeah.
sorry, I'll go off on tangents on
This
theories.
is
Yeah.
what the show's about, honey. Is going off on tangents. Sharing stories. Like Kristen, honey, we want them to go buy your book, but more
Right.
importantly, I want them to come see the house.
Yeah. Well, the coming to see the house, when you first come in, it's either going to feel like home or it's not going to feel like you're not going to, there's no in between. And we can't, it's unpredictable. You can't predict the house. But I tell you what, the rapport that I've built with the spirits, I feel like also has increased my awareness, my spirituality, my manifestations, how I manifest, because I know I've got their back and they know it and they've got my back. So,
Right.
And Edwin Hetherington is in the book. He's a major staple of the house. And he was a psychic medium that was grieving his sister Lyde, who died in the house. And he called upon all of these seers and spiritualists to come to the Belair house and try to connect him to his sister in the afterlife. So, I think they did because he wanted to be just like them. So he started studying how to be a medium, the occult, and he got into a lot of other cool things. And he could have opened up portals. We don't know. We weren't there. But his spirit is definitely always, well, I don't want to say always. His spirit is probably 70% there. I have learned that sometimes Edwin just isn't there, but then Edwin comes back and I understand that he really wasn't in the house. He went, maybe took a spiritual vacation, who knows, but he really wasn't there. And there's other spirits that have been crossed over, and without the guidance of the spirits of the Blair House, I would have never learned how to do that.
Right.
It's like, what better mentor to have than the spirits of the house that are, showing you, helping you.
Right.
Sometimes people come into the Belair house to connect to their deceased loved ones through the portal, where you can hear, we attempt, there's no guarantee because we don't really baloney anything. But if someone, let's just say, for instance, a deceased loved one comes through and you hear their voice, you're going to hear it in real time. And it's going to be very clear. It isn't going to have all the static behind it. But we do a lot of that too.
You bring up a good point, a lot about the phony baloney that can go on in the mediumship business. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are some of the things you see, because my channel, we talk about a lot of stuff that we, $5,000, curse removal of a car for $5,000.
Yeah, that's a shame. It's a shame.
Or,
it really is.
A paranormal house that isn't a paranormal house. There isn't any spirits there. Oh, your house is haunted. Let me bless it for $2,000.
You can't do that. In the paranormal field, you're not allowed to charge anything for helping residential people. You're not. Locations are commercial, what do you call that? Restoring them. That's all there. But, as, clergy, no clergy, investigator, enthusiast, and what scares me the most about that is there are teams that want to prey upon the residential cases
Yeah.
to, submit their footage or their content to be famous. And trust me, guys, you're only going to get 10 minutes of that. And you're not going to be invited to Paracons and all of that stuff in keynote speakers because you made 10 minutes on TV. You have to be on TV consistently all of the time in order to reach that status. So utilizing that content to build your resume instead of exposing a family's very crisis situation is a crackanini shit. And I don't like it,
Well,
and I
I know.
think it needs to stop.
Right. And then, but what I'm also talking about is those people that do, oh, there's an attachment on you. Oh, your house was haunted. It isn't. I mean,
Yeah.
you can be sitting across the conference, and you will hear this stuff go on, and you're like, "What the hell are they doing? What are they broken on?"
Right. Yeah, there's a lot. And I see, from time to time, there's people that walk in the Blair house and are very, very dramatic as soon as they cross the threshold. And I'm just, we just deal with that. And, sometimes maybe they're trying to play out some fantasy. I don't know what they're doing, but it's not paranormal investigating.
Right. So what does a normal paranormal investigation look like?
Well, the way I like to do them is have at least, 4 to 5 people. Sometimes less is best. And normally at the Belair, I'll just use the Belair. Well, you know what? We went this weekend.
Yeah.
It was last weekend. I stepped out of the Belair house and actually was able to investigate some places in Gettysburg, like the orphanage and a little bit in the Dobbin house. And sorry, come on.
It's fine.
Come on, Scumface. Come on. All right. So anyway, starting an investigation, always at the Blair House, we start in the seance room. It never fails.
Right.
And then after that, it's almost like that's our introduction to the spirits. And then we divide people into groups, and somebody may go in the attic, somebody may go in the basement, and then we just kind of flip flop around and sometimes change groups and stuff like that. But typically, teams spend a whole entire weekend there collecting data. And now that we have the 24/7 live static cams on the Spirit Realm Network, you can peek in at the Belair house anytime you want to.
Really?
Yeah, and you can see different rooms. There's the seance room, the attic, and I believe the living room facing out to the foyer. So those are the 3 main rooms. But I want to start this test because an investigator over the weekend brought it to my attention. They told me that with the static cams being on, that it decreased the activity, like the spirits didn't want to be noticed. And then when he had put a blanket or covered them, or I don't know what he did, and he said that the spirits knew that they weren't being seen, he said activity truly started to happen.
Okay.
So he said that when he went in other rooms that didn't have cameras, there was a lot of activity. So I want to test that out for a little bit and see what that means.
Okay.
And then, probably write about that later and just research it for a while. I don't know. There's a lot.
I think that's interesting because now I'm working off of my limited knowledge of it. With the cams being on all the time, that should be direct energy they can attach to.
I think so. Yeah.
And that should be able to give them more to do. However, they may still have that human nature of, I don't want to be on camera all the time. And then you've got the ones from the 1800s going, what the hell is this shit she's bringing in here?
Right.
Now she brings in bad furniture. Now she's hanging things up.
That's right. I probably should have asked. I'll ask tomorrow.
Well, after them and go, hey, here's the deal, guys. We want to show off what you can do.
Right.
These are the rooms you can do that in.
Right. Yeah. It's been probably a month since I've talked to the spirits.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's been busy, and I'm sure they've been busy.
Well, I've been traveling a little bit, not too much, but enough, and spending some time with the family. So it's kind of like my vacation from work, maybe.
Yeah. So when you're not there, who takes care of it? Or does it just sit?
It just sits.
Ah, so the spirits take care of it.
Yeah, it just sits. It really does. Um, Sometimes, if I can't be there, my husband will do what needs to be done, or our friend Catling will help.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a little bit of backup, but
Yeah. Well, the reason I'm asking is, have you ever gone in after you've been gone a while and activity is super, like, they do over the top because you showed up?
yeah, right after COVID, when we were getting requests to do a live feed, people were feeding pretty bad for the Blair House. So they asked us to do live feeds, and we actually saw a shadow figure crawl up the wall.
Wow.
And I just said, let's close it. Let's just close it. And, my husband was out the door and I was in the house alone closing it. And I'm like, Daniel, what are you doing, man? Don't leave me in here.
Have you ever, other than the initial, when you're getting used to everybody that lives there not paying rent, have you ever been scared afterwards?
In the beginning, yeah. In the beginning, like probably, I would say until maybe 2014. 2014, I don't think I was scared anymore.
Yeah.
Was able to actually sleep in a bed. It took me that many years to physically sleep in a bed. I would always sleep on a couch or a chair.
Uh-huh.
Because that's how I slept downstairs at the Belair house when the activity was at its peak.
Right. Now you mentioned that one of them was a psychic medium. Do you think, and you don't know if he opened portals or not, do you feel that was the start of opening up the tapes, or do you feel like or do you have documentation or even knowledge of it being even farther back?
With the spiritualism, I'm not sure if it went farther back than Edwin.
Okay.
I do know that Jacob Hetherington was like part of a group. It was called the Goodfellas. No, that's the movie. Maybe it was that good. It's some sort of a group. I'd have to look it up in the paperwork, but
Mm-hmm.
there was like a secret closed off group, kind of like the Masons, kind of
Right.
like, but not them. The weirdest thing happened the other day. I had a local person call me and ask to meet me.
Mm-hmm.
He had told me that his sister lived in the house that Jack built, which was Jacob Hetherington's mansion.
Right.
And I was very excited to meet them. And Kat and I actually went down to meet them. And she handed us a vase that was from the actual house that Jack built. So
Mhm.
Jacob Hetherington had imported this vase from Austria to give to Eliza, his wife.
Uh-huh.
She was 90, well, she is 97 years old, and she's a Spitfire. She just goes and goes and goes. And they want readings. And
Of course.
yeah, and they said if I give 3 readings, I can have that vase.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
honey, I'd be clearing schedules and counseling appointments.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, when do you want them? Tuesday at 2:00? Not a problem. Cancel this one. We need 3 of them. All right, cancel these 3. Be making it happen. Have you been able to retain, or was there furniture there when you moved in?
There was a little bit, but I don't think it was anything to do with the original house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you been able to connect with the original house, or either that, or like the seance room, which I'm assuming is that first room that everyone walks into? Have you found pictures of what it used to look like?
No.
Oh, wow.
We can't find a picture of Edwin or Lyde. There's no pictures of Ed. We have their birth certificates. I have his draft card.
Mhm.
I have his will, what he left everyone.
Mhm.
But I don't have pictures of them. Now, there was a family that lived there that said they had pictures of it when they lived there, which was in like the 60s, 50s, 60s, but there was carpet and stuff like that in there, I heard.
Oh, those beautiful hardwood floors.
Yeah, that's not there anymore.
Guys, she's got beautiful oak forts like I do in the Bel Air house, and
Yeah.
you just feel the history in them.
Yeah, filling that vase, you could actually feel it vibrate. It was
Mhm.
it was, and then, she had this big white Victorian dress over in the corner with a humongous oil painting of a lady in that time era. And then she had angels all playing harps in that room.
How
Um,
cool.
they're very spiritual people.
Hmm.
They
Which
want,
you find a lot in the valley. So
yeah,
spiritualism being at Bel Air, I'm like, yeah, and that's probably a lot to do with the time period, the way how things are. It has to do with the whole area, like that and Pentecostal. You were either spiritual, Pentecostal, or Baptist. One of the three in the valley and all the way down through West Virginia during that time period.
the weirdest thing is that their brother and sister, and the brother contacted me to come and talk to him because he heard about the show. He heard what show I was on, and he listened to it. But he said to me, I didn't want to say this to you over the phone. He said, but it's nice to talk to you again. He's like, we have done this before. We were in each other's lives before. And sometimes my mind really travels. And I started to think the other day, what if we're stuck in the groove of that record? What if that's Edwin and Lyde?
That's a possibility, a very possibility.
Yeah.
Um, Especially when we look at past lives and connecting with real lives. And see, then I often have to question myself on the theory of, okay, the ones that get stuck, like the real actual sit down, like the housekeeper at the Anchorage, the gentleman, I never got a name or anything there at Bel Air. Um, what about them? Do they just not appear up in the next cycle? Because they've not decided to move on?
And this part of them did move on, and they're just the other part of them, like the past,
Mm-hmm.
would be replaying.
Yeah.
Maybe we are just a few songs before that, you know what I mean? Like, and then we move up to that.
Yeah, and then you move up and move on to the next song or next thing.
Mhm.
How does technology behave at your house?
Crazy.
Well, because you've got cameras in there now.
Yeah.
How are they doing? Are they surviving, or have they been going down up and down like gasoline?
They're steady right now.
Okay.
Steady. I'm channeling the tree spirits.
Uh-huh. Like, leave it alone. Because the house that I owned in Kilsyth that was haunted, we would go through. Now, granted, this was the '80s, so the only thing we could compare to was TVs and telephones. We went through them all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
would die. Brand new one would die.
Yeah.
In a month.
When I'm doing the psychic lines, sometimes I'll get this.
Uh-huh. I get that all the time too, because you work the psychic lines like me. I work keen, you work keen.
Mhm.
You reach both of us there. I'm Ace Knight. Of course, she's Christian Lee. Tell them a little bit about your psychic business, because you also do in person, and you've traveled a bit with that.
Yeah, I haven't done in person, and I don't know if I'm going to anymore because COVID changed things for me. It did. I mean, I've always been a hermit, so that part wasn't so bad. But with Keen, I like it. I think it has spoiled me so I don't have to do personal readings, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
I started Keen in 2011, and for, oh gosh, 20 years, maybe. No, 10 years. 10 years, maybe rang 3 times a year.
Really?
Yeah. And then
Were you not bidden? Were your listings not turned on? I mean, I would have
it's
called
on.
up. What the heck, dudes? Get your crap together over there.
Well, then, one day I just woke up and I heard, why don't you just see what's going on with Keen? And I looked around Keen, and then I was like, I wonder if let me try this again. And I was blown up, and I was like, wow, that was not, that's not normal. So then I'm like, the next day, like going down to the casino or something and get ready to play again. I go back on Keen and I'm like, I'm going to try this again. And
Yeah.
I log in and I'm blown up again. And then it just continued and it continued and it continued and it didn't stop.
Right.
So I think that the spirits knew that I needed a break from all the other stuff that I was doing.
Yeah.
And I've been very blessed to be able to, I can do okay.
Really okay.
Yeah.
I love my Keen. Like
Yeah.
Keen is my top. I'm on a few others.
Yeah.
But you can find me mostly on Keen. I do personal. I'm not doing in person yet. I'm got 2 events booked, and I think these are the only 2 I'm going to do.
Mhm.
I was traveling 3 weekends a month, every month.
Yeah, that's hard.
And COVID hit, and I'm like, okay, let's switch back and let's go back to doing this. And I'm doing Zoom now. I love a Zoom reading.
Yes.
I can see people, they can see me, I can show them the cards, we can have a real conversation, private phone readings. I'm hoping Keen brings something to like Zoom to us,
Yeah.
because that'll just up my ante all over the place. But I like it. I think that COVID has changed the psychic industry.
Mm-hmm.
We're not seeing the paracons like we used to advertise. Granted, I know they take a year to do. We're not seeing, and I'm hearing this from a lot of what I call the circuit psychics going, no, we're not going back on the road. My clients contact me this way and that way, and we roll with that.
Yeah, that's the smartest thing to do right now. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So what's your feelings on COVID in general? Are we over? Are we going to get through this 2-month thing? Or are we going to really ride it out the full 10 years like Sylvia predicted?
Well, strangest visions come to me in the strangest places. I was actually vacuuming the living room a couple weeks ago, and it just hit me. I was like, I got to get canned food. I have to get more Clorox wipes. I have to, I wanted to stock.
Mm-hmm.
And then I asked, why am I feeling like this? And a lady's voice came in and she said, middle of October. So lockdown, you're going to be locked down. So I spent a couple weeks trying to decipher if that was psychological fear, PTSD, what we've all been through, because a lot of us have it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that it was.
I'm going to agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've gotten, and I told my partner the other day, I feel like Jon Snow. Winter is coming.
Yeah.
Winter is coming. Get
Yeah.
your shit together. Winter's coming. So, yeah, I'm stocking up. The freezer's going to get filled back up. The cabinets are going to get filled back up.
Mhm.
Alternative ways of power is going to get bought. And you're going to look at me and just smile because I paid the Discover bill. And everyone, all my listeners know how Joe is. He normally debates me on everything. This one, he's not debating me on.
You can't, not this time. You have to stock up. Now, when I was in Gettysburg, and I was with 2 other psychics, and when the 3 of us are together, just a lot of new information comes through. They're saying middle of September, end of October for lockdown here. I'll see.
We'll see.
Okay.
I mean, the variant's up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And has that affected the house any because it isn't getting fed that new energy as much? Has it gotten quieter? Has it?
No.
No.
No. And this is the first year that we've ever had one booking in December. And I told Daniel, December is ours. It's like Jack the Pumpkin King. This time is ours.
Yeah.
Like we can't be doing that. It's not good for the house. It's not good for me. It's not good for the family. We need that break from that house. That's very important. But I think that a lot of people who are, I don't know. I know when we filmed, I had to get vaccinated, and I'm a big conspiracy theorist. I am, but I also realize that there are people dying, you
Yeah.
know, and this is real. It isn't just something that's a fairy tale that's going to go away.
Right. Well, I'm going to put it to you this way. I'm Team Pfizer.
Mhm.
Waiting for shot 3. And then I think we're going to go on to being a yearly shot like we get with the flu shot and everything
Yep.
else.
Yep.
I've looked at the research.
Yeah.
I've pulled everything they've submitted and I've gone through it with a fine tooth comb. Let's have some fun here.
Okay.
We're not important enough to be microchipped.
Right.
Sorry. I know we both have FBI files. That's just a given in this industry. If they wanted to find out what was going on, they'd already know.
We have our phones.
Yeah, they have our phones.
Hey, there's our microchip, man. Come
Yeah,
on.
exactly. Anything else that I've seen come out of it about it, I've just had to laugh like, really? No,
Yeah.
you can't do that. Really? Oh, yeah. The delivery system they were using is the same one they're using for the trial. Not even the trial. They're still in testing of the HIV vaccine. Same delivery system.
Did
It
you
had
watch?
already been delivered, already been worked on for 15 years.
And that's what pisses me off.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. I mean,
No,
that
go for it, honey. We cuss on this show. This isn't they get it.
because, you know, hello, we have been dealing with HIV and AIDS and people dying, fucking dying
Right.
since I was 4 years old.
Right.
You know, I have a lot of my friends are in spirit because of that. But we can make a vaccine just like that for COVID.
Right. But here's the thing with that, though, and this is the hard part. They had the delivery system. They can't mail down the DNA structure for the 3 different strands of HIV.
Right.
We already had the COVID because of the dogs and the cats and the bears and the pigs. Like, the animal kingdom has had this.
Okay, yes.
Okay, so they've had COVID-19. Animals have had COVID-19 for centuries. They had the delivery system that they had been testing for the HIV one. All they done was marry them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Well, that's what Pfizer and Moderna did.
Right,
Johnson
right.
Johnson, I don't know what the hell they're doing. I think they're playing with feline something another.
Really?
Really? Like, that one's the shoddiest research there is.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, this is what I heard, and I don't watch TV at all.
Right.
Okay. A doctor told a patient to, if anything, get the Pfizer because it was old school.
Right.
science.
Yeah. Pfizer is the top one, and it's
Yeah.
because they married 2 projects together
Right.
very quickly.
So that's what I ended up with, because we had like Russian roulette down here
Mhm.
on what shot you were getting, what vaccination you were getting, and we ended
Yeah.
up getting Pfizer. Yeah.
Good. Very good. But no, Pfizer, I'm waiting for to get approved for shot 3 and stick with it because it's old science. It's the research on it's this thick. It's 772 pages.
Pfizer is?
Yes.
Holy gosh.
Yeah. Double columned.
Oh,
Yeah. And I'm going through, you're like, okay, I see what you've done here. And oh, I've seen this graph before. It was in this research over here.
Oh.
Yeah. So they were already on top of the game because
When though?
they've been working on a new delivery system so that they could treat HIV and AIDS.
Right.
Get that vaccine out. They've been working on it since Pfizer picked it up in 92.
Right. Okay.
So they've been working. They had the retrovirus delivery. They already had it.
Yeah. Antiretroviral. Yeah.
Yeah.
It brings down my vibe to even talk about the vaccinations.
I know, but they're so important.
I know.
And they're facing our industry. Because this is what people don't talk about is, as psychics, every psychic I know has one or more autoimmune disorders.
Yeah.
one of more pain problems, one of more physical problems. So that puts us right up there. I mean, with Keene, I think there was one day I went in there and looked, and there was like 20 people gone off the planet when
Oh,
COVID was at its high. Yeah,
oh, wow.
yeah. And it's like, this is our industry. This has changed our industry completely.
Wow. See, I don't know the psychics on Keene. I don't know how to
I know some of them.
been there. Yeah, for a
Yeah,
while.
we've seen faces, we've
Right.
seen profiles. Oh, she got a new headshot. Dang, she looked 20 years older.
Right, right.
Yeah. But how's your experiences on do you still do the others, or are you just on Keene?
A little bit on the other one, just a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah. And just, I get tired. With Keene, life questions, and then I have a romance love category too. And that one's pretty expensive because I really choose not to want to do love so much anymore.
Well, that's understandable. What's your favorite read?
Mediumship.
Mediumship?
Yeah.
Otherworld connection?
That, yeah. And I like to be 3 steps ahead of the game on what people are thinking about, with career and employees, associates, coworkers.
Yeah. I love a good business reading. I
Yeah.
love a good business reading.
Mhm.
Love and relationships is my bread and butter because it's what I deal with the most.
Yep.
But, I don't know about you because I don't know a lot of your backstory, to be honest. But when I was coming up and being trained and going through this class and that class, because, I'm Mr. I need a bunch of paperwork to show that I can do this.
Uh-huh.
I thought coming out of that, when I got my master's in metaphysics, coming out of that, I would be doing these. You're in a past life was a French artist, so therefore this is why that now you cannot stand the color of opiate blue, and working through past life issues and working through
Mhm.
different life crisis, high level, working with ascended master readings. And I joined back in the day, the old network, and it's like boom, boom, boom. But I love digging into something like a business profile, or looking at and digging into where the business is going. What are you doing with it? I also love like the everyday. People call it the average reading. I like the average reading too, but they better have something for me to tag into. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, don't call me when your relationship's perfect.
No, me either. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an ER psychic.
Yeah. I just, whatever comes to me, comes to me. I'm just always,
Mm-hmm.
and some, I'm very direct.
Mm-hmm.
I am. And I noticed that with chat too, the voice feature is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But make sure you say the punctuation.
If you use it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm old school where I don't use it.
I've done that too.
Yeah.
One time my phone completely was possessed and it said some really weird things. And it
Were
made,
you at the Bow house?
I was on my sun porch. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm asking, Liz, because when I've caught this when I'm on locations, or when I've taken it out to like down to Thurman, which is a ghost town here,
Yeah.
and I'll, be working and enjoying the day out, and I'll flip that microphone on and it'll start writing for me. And I'm like, hold it, get out of my reading.
Yeah.
Get out of my reading. They don't need your store list.
It happens, like a ghost, a spirit, whatever energy just overtakes your phone, and it really does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever used something like, I don't know what, the computer equipment, like put a laptop in the seance room with the voice to text and just turned on and left on?
I'll try that. No, we haven't done that.
I would love to see what happens, like if you start getting pieces of conversations, because for me, when I walk into a place, it's like I'm walking, there could be nobody in the house, and I'll walk in and I'll hear people talking, but it's pieces of conversation.
Right. Right. Yeah, like a voice recorder, but the actual computer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed that on TikTok, it has captions.
Uh-huh.
When I would upload a 3-minute video of a little snippet of an investigation,
Uh-huh.
there were things that were coming through on the captions that I didn't even hear with my ear, but I heard because it picked it up through
Right.
the captions. So I thought that was really cool too.
Yes, I think that's really cool. And I love EVPs.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
if I like paranormal, if I'm going non-psychic, I would probably do EVP.
Yeah.
So that's where I see a lot of results from. A lot of the early ghost box work.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you see your most results in? The K2 meters?
I do a lot of ITC communication, but I get a lot of communication through the Hack Shack that I've just recently started using again,
Mhm.
and the portal. Uh, REM pods, yeah, REM pods. K2s, we had some really strange data entries with a K2.
Really?
When a team, there's an episode out there, it's called Josh Explores or something like that. He's a big YouTuber, and a couple guys from New England came in, and the K2 was it was on command. Like we were asking questions, and it was,
Fully lighting up.
yeah. That's very rare for me to just see that.
Right.
Maybe 5 or 6 times in this lifetime.
Hmm. Have you ever tried to play with it?
Yeah, we do. They always walk out of the Belair house. I always have to buy K2s over and over and over again because somehow I just
Mhm.
bought 3 of them in May and they're gone.
Really?
So, yeah. So
But no.
people probably, forget to bring them back or whatever, accidentally pack them, and
Hmm.
then
Well, have you ever set one down in like because you don't live at Blair at
Mhm.
all. Have you ever
No,
set one down in your living room and they like take it all the way up to red and like try to psychically move it?
like in my house.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. No, I don't play up here.
Well,
No.
take it somewhere where you can play with it, but use your
Yeah.
psychic energy to see if you can influence it.
Oh, yeah, you can. You can. I've done it at the Geyer Opera House.
Uh
That
huh.
was that was a lot. And like below the stage is like little. You would think they're called dressing rooms, but they're not. They're little cubby holes. They used to make the traveling theatrical people dress in, and I went in there with a K2 and had a mirror because it was their mirror that they
Hmm.
dressed in, and then I had another mirror behind me, so it was portal anyway. So,
Right.
and then that thing was it was going off. It
Awesome.
was really cool, yeah. But I don't think that I was just like paranormal person. I wasn't like
Yeah.
psychic person. You know what I mean? So I will
Hmm.
try that. I'll definitely
Try
try.
that because I've gotten to play with a few of them at non-paranormal locations, and there's nothing there. Like you're standing in the middle of a conference center, and no ghost is going to live there.
Right.
And you
Right.
sit there, and I'm like, light all the way up, light all the way up. Oh, let's go halfway. Oh, let's see if
Right.
we can make it go red. That type of playing with it, and it's real interesting to watch that. And then I asked myself, how often do you get maybe a untrained medium, untrained empath that goes and buys it on eBay,
Mhm.
packs it in their bag, goes off to like a Paracon or something like that, and get all these awesome reports, and then you start talking to them and going, okay, so what's going on with your life? Well, my boyfriend just left, blah blah blah, and it's like, oh, okay. You sure that isn't connected to all the paranormal going on in your house?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we tell people don't do this stuff in your home. That's why there's locations. That's why there's,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Facilities.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's a shame. It is. You got to be really careful what you put out there, what kind of content people put out there, because you never know. There could be a child up to a young
Yeah.
adult that is at a very low point of their life, and spirits can manipulate that energy, that low energy.
Right.
They can be in a world of trouble. They really can be, and that's not good. You
No.
know, so the people that stick to their ground and not put anything out like that, and Yeah, I applaud them because it's really hard to turn down a contract, and it's really hard to invest in a contract that it's just going to collect dust, you
Right,
know? Hmm.
right. And I think it's important that we train the younger ones
Yep.
as they grow up to deal with their psychic selves.
Yes. Yeah.
'Cause I hear so often, and I get so many people contact me, and they don't know what to do with their 14-year-old because stuff's flying around in their room, and I'm like, take them for ice cream, pay attention to them.
Yeah. That's a start.
Yeah, connect to them on an emotional level.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's been activity here at our house, and I had to have paranormal clergy come in,
Hmm.
help me cleanse it. Kat Lane came, and Lane and I assisted her, and she's part of that. And it, you know, I'm just gonna have to redo everything outside, all the walls and all that kind of stuff outside, because 10 years ago, 11, 12 years ago, whatever it was, seeing that apparition appear on the couch was very startling. Well, it happened here again. It was a big, like, hand, like the size of Hulk, come
Uh-huh.
out of a painting while I was sleeping. You know how I was telling you,
Mhm.
something's there. And again, I sat up and I opened my eyes, and out of this picture, this oil painting of um, Ellis Island, where all my people landed. It's
Uh-huh.
huge. This
Yeah.
huge hand just comes straight for me, and I'm like, "Oh no, not today," you know. And it was strange because my position, my head was in the south, and so
Mhm.
I'm always in the east. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Well,
that
I have
was
a
different.
question for you.
Hmm.
How's your psychic self-care?
Oh, it's been very good lately. It wasn't. It wasn't.
Yeah.
No, I'm
That,
still. I'm still on the mend from that. Yeah.
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 That's a problem. Okay.
Yep.
We will work ourselves to death. And when we do, spirit starts going, "Oh, okay. Yeah, you want to pull 16 hours on the line and
Yes.
walk through that coal mines and just go crawl your happy butt in bed.
Yeah.
Uh-uh. You're gonna
Right.
start having problems." I don't know about you, but my house, I swear, I had to hire a housekeeper, and it wasn't because I was so busy. It's because my house got triple dirty.
I try to schedule like an hour a couple times a day where I'm not on the lines, so
Hmm.
I can at least do two chores, whether one's a large one, one's a little one. Um, I try, but I mean, I've got 6 cats, man. That's crazy because all I'm doing is mopping and sweeping and wiping, and that's, and on top of
I've got
that,
three dogs and two cats,
see?
but when they sweep, it's dirt, and I'm like I have them literally take a wet towel to my office to get the
Yeah.
dirt out of the floor because otherwise it's this thick black psychic goo. But
Yeah.
physical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I wish my kid would stop stealing my lighter so I didn't have to use the junk ones.
Well, tell the kid to get their own.
He's gonna have his butt kicked later. I'm gonna tell you what. He's in trouble.
So you got another book coming out.
Maybe, probably, more than likely.
Oh,
Yes.
we know you got at least 3 books. And one of them needs to be a training manual, but I'll let you get there.
I'm trying to. I've already pitched that, and we'll see. Hopefully they'll say yes for
Yeah,
as the next one, but I don't think so. Probably have to do a couple more ghost ones.
cool. Very cool. And that's part of the industry that we don't get to talk a lot about. How does that pitching process go?
Well, the first thing you have to do is come up with an idea. And mine was very simple. It was the Belair house. I mean,
Mhm.
reality. So I was able to do that. So you just, put down what you want to write about in, anywhere from 12 to 13 chapters, and outline it and just a couple sentences. It's called a pitch deck.
Mhm.
And you also have to do a little bit of research and see what the market is, how you stand out in that market, what you bring to the table, and then you submit it. And sometimes they'll be like, we don't like this idea at all, so let's do this, and we got a deal. And you're like, okay.
We're writing about this. Do you find
Right.
it hard to pitch ideas that aren't soft 101? This is what a ghost is. Like, do you think you could sit down and write a book that's total technical ghost hunting and then it get picked up?
Mm. I don't think I could, my brain would work to write something like that. I don't think I could, because the reason with the technology, you have to rely on the psychic ism. Sorry, I'm pulling a Leo here, but you have to, because I mean, that psychic power, that psychic energy that is natural and filtering through the human body, which I feel is way more powerful than a piece of equipment. And then they both match. That is a confirmation that the equipment is valid. You see what I mean? And vice versa, that the psychic is valid through the equipment.
Right.
So it's just a double confirmation. I mean, I would have to write it like that, not just strictly like Revenge of the Nerds. You know what I mean? Where everything is like.
No, what I'm saying is, in the industry, do you think that, like, because I'm not seeing a lot of technical manuals out there, like,
No.
to do the clairvoyancy, the old style seances, that type of thing, the technical, this is how you do this.
Right.
Do you think that we'll ever get to a point to where we can be writing on that level, or do you think it's always going to be training in bubblegum?
I hope it's not training in bubblegum. I don't. I think the closest that we had was Leo and Rosemary and, Raven. And I really do. I don't think that, I mean, we lost a lot of great authors the past couple of years. And I think that it's just like, we have to. I mean, I think we have to. We have to make sure that at least we try to put as much of it in as we can to do what we can. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because, looking at my main tool, I don't know if it's yours or not, the tarot, there are books being printed today that still say the Four of Wands means you're going to receive a letter.
Oh, that's sad. I didn't know that there's books that said that.
Yeah. So there's little white ones that we prop our tables up with because, the floor's a little uneven, but we ain't going to say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still talking about letters and still talking about, charging off to this. And I'm like, the only thing the new generation knows to charge is a cell phone. And I don't think I've received a written letter in 20 years.
Yeah, my son just did from a girl.
Really? Ooh.
Yeah, written one. Yes.
Now, is this the one that's the musician that put out 50 titles in a year?
I know. That's that one. Yes.
Yeah, she's got a very creative son. Go ahead and give the information on that one, and then you've got a question for Mary.
Okay. So my son's name is 1699 YDD. He has 1699 Studios. You can find that on Facebook, but he's on all platforms. If you Google 1699 YDD and just write in Confessions, that's one of his songs. It'll take you to all of his platforms where you can hear. You'll get lost in a rabbit hole. Some songs are great. I mean, the newer stuff that he's been putting out has been great. You can see him growing. The beginning songs, like the very Confessions, I Try, In and Out. It's like these songs that he's hip hop artist. He recorded all of them out of Chicago. He actually took me into Inglewood, Chicago. And we recorded them there, and then he just dove into his own studio, and he's got guys down there right now that are recording their songs. So he's like not only an audio engineer, but he's also an artist, and he's producing his own stuff. Right. So the other day I heard him talking to somebody on the phone, and he was being a gentleman, and I was like, wonder who he's talking to. And he was talking to a recording school in California. He was accepted to LA recording music and film, but I don't want to go to LA right now. So we're looking at different schools that are a little bit more local. And I found one for him. The guy used to tour with the Beatles and the Stones, and I know that's nowhere near hip hop, but he's still a working audio engineer and a producer, and he'll teach him the business and how to LLC and contracts and stuff like that. So
Copyright.
mhm, yeah,
So Mary's question to you and me is, do you use salt in cleaning the spiritual garbage?
salt, kosher salt. Yes, it's all through the Paranormal Confessions book.
Mhm.
Each chapter has a tip, a metaphysical tip on how you can combat negative energy, low grade energy, stupid people energy. It's all the same, right? It's all the same. But yeah, absolutely. I'm very well preserved. Yes.
Salt, and more salt.
Yeah.
Kosher salt, sea salt, don't care. Although I'm still trying to figure out how the Dead Sea isn't dry by now. Like, it should be a freshwater sea by now with all this Dead Sea salt stuff that has been sold. But salt, definitely. 2 cups to a tub of bath water as hot as you can stand it. Cup of milk and 1 head of a rose. Very good to do once a month.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 I have a recipe that, don't ever put salt in your hot tub. Don't do that.
No.
Don't do that.
No. Salt doesn't go in a hot tub. It
Mm-mm.
does not go into a freshwater pool. It will upset that chlorine balance in a heartbeat.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yep.
I see some people at the end of Paracons that'll put salt in the pool water at their hotel. I'm like, no. Don't do that. Get a bottle of water, dump it over your head, do whatever you do, but don't do that.
Yeah, you don't need a big baptismal,
Even the sprays work on quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're leaving a location, douse yourself down with, you can even make your own spray. You don't have to spend $10 to $20 on a bottle of spray.
Mhm. You don't. And I don't know, saging before you sage your baggage. Do you sage your stuff before you come home from a Paracon?
I normally sage my body, not my stuff. I bless all of my stuff with kosher salt. I mix it with water, and there's other herbs and stuff in there that I use. But no, I do that. Just splash it, bless it. There's some people that left the Belair house and they just dropped all of their stuff off at the cleaners, and it's still in the bags in their closet. Like one girl told me that a couple days ago. She's like, I still haven't taken my dry cleaning bags off of my stuff from the Belair house.
That could be a good thing, especially if you piss them off.
I'm sure they did.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it was her fault though, but I'm sure they did.
So the seance room, have you had anything appear at Airport Inn? Because if I'm remembering statues in that room. Have they been brought? Did you bring them there, or did you have things appear up?
There was a few sanctuary items because the Belair house at one time, we converted it to just the seance room to a little metaphysical shop, and that did not work. The spirits did not like that.
No.
So I closed that down really quick. But there were some things that were left over. There was a sanctuary item, Aphrodite, that was there. I think Apollo.
Michael statue.
Yeah, when we had to redo the roof during COVID, we auctioned some of those items off to help pay for the roof.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you think anybody went with them?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, there was one guy out of Cleveland that had like a museum for haunted objects or from haunted locations, and he has a lot of our stuff.
Well, good. At least it's being preserved, and I find that's the harder thing, is preserving it.
Yeah. No, we do have people that drop things off, and I ask people not to do that, but I understand their fear of driving with it or taking it home. I get it. So but the best thing to do really, we have a haunted afterlife museum down the river. If they could just take that extra 30 minutes and drive it there instead of leaving that responsibility on me, I would totally be happy about that.
Yes, you don't want grandma's ashes moving in.
No, and people have done that. They brought deceased loved ones' ashes in as trigger objects. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Why are you doing that?
Yeah, Dad doesn't need to go on a field trip. I've
No.
had to go for taking Dad for a fishing trip, but he doesn't need to go on a field trip to the Bel Air house.
No. There's been some really crazy things, there's been some really foul and disgusting things that people have done, but that was the first couple of years. It was really hard because I was battling the village. I was new on the paranormal scene, so I had to be very proactive, and I was learning the ropes at the same time, and it's tough. I feel bad when I see somebody come up on the scene, I really do, because I want to be able to help, but I'm not lifting a finger until they come to me. So, I've learned boundaries, but
you don't want to just go in, okay, this is the booking system we use. This is they got to learn it.
Right.
They've got to learn it, because otherwise they won't get those mistakes like, no, you lock the front door first and then the back door.
Right. True.
Here's
That's
why.
true.
And, no, the broom has to go this way, because otherwise you'll find it in the bedroom because such and such will take off with it.
Right.
Yeah. So do you have plans for the Bel Air house afterwards? Like when you're done with all the research, what are you going to do with the house?
See, that's problem. I would love for my son to take it over, my youngest son, because he's very psychic. He grew up in it. He's grown up in this whole industry. I know he wants to do music, but he's also got to take care of his roots too, and he's got to be able, so hopefully, when he's older, he finds somebody special that he cares about and they can help him. That's my hopes and dreams. But if not, then, we've got 2 partners. One is a couple of years older than me, and the other one is just a few years older than Lane. And she's very responsible. So maybe her and Lane can work together.
Right.
Well,
keep it going.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to ask you this because it's getting thrown at me. What's the deal with the doors upstairs?
I'm not sure what.
I don't know either. I'm looking at doors upstairs, and you're like, have her talk about the doors. I'm like, what about the doors?
They probably, they all have locks on them because they would always open and close, slam shut, and that was disturbing when you are asleep and boom.
Yeah.
Here. That was no fun. So
right.
So we can let them know that was not nice.
Yeah, that wasn't nice. That wasn't nice at all. So if someone wanted to book the Bel Air, where do they go? How do they do that? What's your process?
Well, there's a lot of different platforms it's on right now. So what I would do, not to show favoritism toward one platform, is just Google Paranormal Confessions, Kristen Lee, and there's a lot of things that will pop up, and just choose your favorite, your favorite store.
Mm-hmm. And that's where to get the book. What if they want to come do an investigation?
Oh, if you want to come and do an investigation, we're doing private investigations. So get a group. It can be up to 8 people. And you would go on the Bel Air House website, which is BelairHouseTours.com. It's BELLAIREHOUSE tours, TOURS.com, and then go to the calendar and open it up and see what dates are available.
Mm-hmm.
Then click on those dates and it'll take you to a deposit, and we'll see you at the Bel Air House. If you have any questions, call.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. Very easy. It isn't like a screening process or anything like that currently.
No, No, we go in an honor system. We have a couple rules: no Ouija boards, no rituals of any kind, of any religious rituals, none. If somebody reports that there is activity that perhaps might need to be crossed over, if there's spirits that want to be crossed over, we do require them to at least be clergy, 501c3 nonprofit for at least 3 years under the guidance of somebody for 10.
Mhm.
And then I want to be there. No drinking, no drugs, don't come in stupid. That's it. I mean, that's it.
It's not that complicated. It's a lovely place. Even if you just want to come up and visit the Hawaii with your group, because you can do a lot there. You've got the haunted museum there.
The
There's
prison.
your house, the prison. Like you can do a whole paranormal vacation and not even leave the Ohio Valley.
Yeah, and then in Wheeling, there's some cool things too.
Mhm.
Mount Wood Cemetery, the Center Market in Wheeling, West Virginia, and
Mhm.
Moundsville, West Virginia. There's a new metaphysical store.
Really? I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah, it's really nice. I think it's called something things, mindful things, I think is what it's called, perhaps.
Okay.
I've been there a few times. She's very nice. It's just a cute little place. I like it.
Cool. Very cool. So if they wanted to get the Christian Lee experience, how do they do that?
I normally do public events. Like there will be an investigator that helps me host a public event.
Uh-huh.
And I'll hang out from check-in time until about midnight, and
Mhm.
then they'll be on their own. And if it's a weekend event, I normally go back the second day and hang out again.
Mhm.
Probably
I'm
like,
talking about psychic wise.
oh, psychic, oh, Keen. Just
Yeah.
look for me on Keen, Kristen Lee on Keen,
Mhm.
psychics, and that's how you do it. I'm doing chat. If you want to do a call, please get in, arrange a call, get in the queue, and I'll get to you when I can get to you. If my energy's not real high, I'm not giving readings because I don't want to give
Nor
bad.
should you be.
Mhm.
Nor should you be. And that's important for everyone to understand. And sometimes we need a break.
Yep.
And sometimes we've got to deal with spirit world before we can deal with real world and that type of thing.
Right.
So, guys, go get her book, her first book. She'll be back when she's getting her other 3 out. I promise you.
I will.
Yes. And hopefully, as Bel Air grows, we're going to see a lot more research going on there.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we will be. I think there'll be a lot more. I don't know. I keep seeing you sitting there typing with a guy standing over you dictating. So I'm waiting for that to pop out.
Yeah. You were right about leaving the country. Remember you told me that at the Belair house?
Uh-huh.
That almost happened. It was in the works.
Uh-huh.
You
It's
were-
going to be back into works. I mean, you're just on pause right now getting a breath.
I hope it lasts a little bit longer because I need it.
Yeah.
Just a couple more months.
So, guys, I will be back this Friday night. I'll be back with Mountain Bears, and we'll be talking about hot topics. And it's been getting heated. And I'm telling you, you're going to hear some words come out of my mouth you probably haven't heard in 3 weeks. And go check out Kristen Lee. Check out the Bel Air House. Get Paranormal Confessions. This one's a good read, but remember, this is just a primer. She's got bigger books and thicker books coming, so catch up with it. Until then, bye, guys.
You can't tell me the deck is stacked. You can't whisper behind my back. You can't show me how the odds are up against me all day long. But I've been through the fire and come out alive, and there's no more fear in my eyes. Oh, now I'm rising, and you can't bring me down. You can't stop me now.